If you have one of these crazy jobs that literally take up all of your time, or you own a business and you find yourself often working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you would like to understand how you can do all of the other things you truly care about in life that are not related to your work, then this video is for you. Now, let me preface this by saying that the video is going to be very technical. It's not very entertaining. There are not a lot of cuts. But what I'm sharing in the video is everything that I did to get the things done that I wanted to do, how I managed to prepare for a kickboxing fight and do all of these things while working as a corporate lawyer, working 60, 70, 80, and sometimes even up to 100 hours per week, which is absolutely crazy. Now, that said, let's get to the video. So how do you excel in life even when you're already working 60 hours or more per week? This video is a follow-on video to the video I made a few weeks ago about why high-achieving men still feel unfulfilled and how you can fix it. And if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to link it in the description. And someone asked me a DM on Instagram following up on that video. So let me first give you a summary of that video. In case you haven't seen it, I'm briefly going to summarize it, but if you want more details, go watch the actual video. And when I have summarized it, I will quickly go into what this person asked me, and then we'll go into the actual video. So in that video, I talked about how the essence to feeling fulfilled and happy in life is that the different pillars of life that constitute the things that matter to us as human beings are all implemented at an equal level. So I broke these down to wealth, health, fitness, and love, whereby love encompasses everything, every aspect of love. It can be your relationships, your social life, your relationship with your children, family, friends, etc. If all of these pillars are at a 10 out of 10, you might still want something else called growth, but that's for a different video. But you will typically feel quite fulfilled and happy. So in this video, what we talked about back then was that money doesn't buy you happiness, because if you overemphasize the pillar of wealth creation, what typically happens is that this pillar eats up all of the other pillar. It doesn't leave any space, which leads to stressed out people, and at older age, people that are unfulfilled and regret their life choices. And that's something that we really want to avoid overall. Let me make this a bit smaller. Yeah. So we want to avoid being this person that's in his 50s, 60s maybe, that mastered money and career, that has it all, but that's sitting on his chair, not happy with himself, not looking good, not feeling healthy, doesn't have good relationships. Instead, I want to aspire to be this dude, happy, successful, jacked 50-year-old. And that is where my goal comes from, of being in the best shape of my life at 55 or in my 50s. I made this goal a while ago. I'm now in my mid-30s, so it's another 20 years ahead of me. I believe it's a great goal. It gives me something to look forward to rather than being afraid of aging, because I am going to be in this epic shape. Yeah, knock on wood, you never know what happens, but if I get to be that old, I will be in great shape. So if you didn't have a goal of your own, of being in your best shape at some point, or having something else to work towards, I explained in this video that you needed to create a vision and then work backwards to your current situation. Ask yourself how you can get from your current situation to achieving that vision. That was the essence of this video. And then someone DM'd me on Instagram and said, "But Niels, I really like your video, but I work more than 60 hours a week. I heard you did that too, but I really don't know how to find the time to work on any other goals in my life." So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how you can structure your life if you work 60 hours or more per week, as I did, still do, and how you can do it to actually get the things done that matter and get closer to creating that vision that you like, to turn that into reality. Now, to give you a brief backstory on myself, I worked in a tier 1 law firm, in a very prestigious American law firm briefly, and then moved to probably the most prestigious, definitely one of the top German law firms working in private equity M&A transactions. So what that essentially means is that at the very least, my work weeks would be 60 hours a week, but more frequently it would be 70 or 80 hours, with some weeks being as many as 120 hours. It sounds completely crazy, and most people don't even believe that when I say it. So I Googled it here. M&A lawyers, transactions lawyers in big law often work 60 to 80 hours, facing long nights and weekend work. And the same with investment banking hours, right? Why did I bring up investment banking? Well, investment banking and corporate transactions lawyer is pretty much the same job. We just have a different technical skill set, but we both work on large transactions in M&A. So what I'm going to do now is show you what a typical day would look like. And my typical days were sometimes really bad. Most of the time I would start working in the office at 9 a.m. and I would leave the office at 30 minutes past midnight. And typically I would have gone to the gym on 2 or 3 days per week. In the course of the evening, the gym was across the street. So I would go there, hit a 30-minute workout, take a quick shower and go back to the office. So you can calculate how many hours I was in the office. Now, for simplicity, I broke down a day like this. Now, this was not my exact work day, but this is a more realistic work day of a normal human being, because I am blessed that I can survive on as little as 3 or 4 hours of sleep for extended periods of time. I'm not going to address whether it's healthy, because it's certainly not, but I can do it. I have done it for years. Right now, I sleep a lot more. Thankfully, I sleep more like 7 hours whenever possible, but I did it for a long time while working in big law. So let's assume you sleep 7 hours a night, right? These are 24 squares, each representing 1 hour. Let's assume you slept 7 hours. If you sleep 7 hours, you wake up at 7. It takes you an hour to get dressed, maybe shower before that, have breakfast, have a coffee, and go to the office. So you're in the office at 8. You work 5 hours, have a lunch break, work another 6 hours, something along those lines, right? Your full work day is like 11 hours, and then it's evening. You go home, you're back at home at 9, right? This is just a very rough estimate, right? Could look completely different, but let's just, for the sake of assumption, say these orange fields are your work hours, and now you come home. The gray is just the pauses, lunch, commuting, all of these things. So let's say you get home at 9 and you're going to sleep at midnight. That effectively leaves you with 3 hours that you could fill with the things that you want to do yourself, free time. But since we're human beings and we're not perfect, we're not going to use that time perfectly, just like the rest of the day. And if you follow me on Instagram or watched any of my other videos, you know that I like to talk about using buffers, because if you create buffers in your schedules, it's ensuring that you get the things done you actually want to get done, because you have buffers in case you go over schedule. It also reduces your stress because you know you have some time left afterwards. So just use these buffers. And for sake of argument, we're going to say, well, we don't have 3 hours. We only have 2 hours a day to do the stuff we enjoy doing. So that means that a typical week that will consist of 7 days like this, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, means that we will have 2 hours a day times 14 is 14 blocks, right? Let's just look at it in this very abstract way. And all we have scheduled in so far is sleeping and working. And of course, there's the pauses that we factor in for eating. And maybe, just realistically, on the weekends, you will have more time, but I'm not even going to factor that in, because I want to see that as bonus time, where maybe we go do some fun stuff with friends, with family, with our kids. But hypothetically, there is some extra time on the weekend. But we also never know. Maybe we have to work on the weekend, so I don't really want to use those hours. So again, for sake of argument, let's work with these 14 times 2, 7 times 2 hours equals 14 times time blocks. So if we put these 14 blocks here, realistically, if you've been hitting the gym in the past, then you will still need to continue hitting the gym. And if you haven't been hitting the gym, then you should probably start doing some form of sports activity. And for sake of argument, again, I just assume that we're just going to do a minimum type of workout, training 3 to 4 hours a week, and just try to maintain what we already built, stay where we are. So no hardcore focus on the gym. So that takes away 4 of these blocks. Then I would also say we should just have another 4 buffers. because you never know. And it sounds stupid because I just talked about buffers, but I would just add more buffers because you never get the things done you want to done. We always overestimate how much we can get done in the short term, but we underestimate how much we can get done in the long term. So I would rather have more buffers, knowing that these buffers will actually help me get closer to my goal in the long term, and then just work towards my goal in the long run. Work towards my goal. And then that leaves me with literally 4 for the gym, 4 buffers, leaves me with 6 elements that we can use for planning. Now, the first thing we could do, let's assume you want to go hardcore on the gym because you want to go, and by gym, I just mean training, fitness, whatever it is. Let's say you're preparing for a fight like I did last winter, or you want to prepare for a marathon, or you're just really trying to get mega jacked in the next 6 months. In that case, I would prioritize the gym as my number one thing for a while. This is essentially what these 6 free things here mean. What is going to be your number one priority for the next couple months? If you want to make gym, fight prep, marathon preparation, getting jacked your main priority, then these 6 things, these 6 free elements will be used by the gym. There is no time for anything else. Yeah, maybe you'll go out once a week, but it shouldn't be your main priority because you have to work. The work is not even a priority in this scenario. You just have to work. It's just something you have to get done so you can come home and then focus on the most important thing in your day, which is your training. And you will go to the gym and train for an hour and a half, spend some time on meal prepping, these kinds of things. So you just make this your main priority. This is what it would then look like, right? We have then 10 overall sessions for the gym and 4 buffers for unplanned stuff. And these 10 hours could be an hour every day, an hour and a half every day. Could be a session in the morning and a session in the evening on 5 days. And then if you still have time on the weekend, another session on Saturday, right? That's how I did it last year. When I was working 60 hours and preparing for a kickboxing fight, I would hit the gym every single morning, train for an hour on technical stuff, go work from 9:30 to 6:30, go back to training, train another hour and a half, go back home and finish the rest of my work. But overall, I would not do realistically more than 10 or 11 units per week where I would actually train because I didn't have more time. Now, let's use an example from right now, my content creation, right? This is literally my main priority right now. Since I finished my kickboxing stuff, I told myself, well, I'm going to prepare. I'm going to switch the time I'm investing on kickboxing with time spent on content. I will reduce the time in the gym. And now my weeks look more like this. I also decided to cut down on my buffers because I know my time requirements quite well right now, but I still leave 2 hours, 2 units for buffer. And on most weeks, I will be able to go to the gym here, which is amazing because that's in 4 days of hitting the gym. Now, a third example, something else you could do is you could say, well, my main priority for the next 90 days is my career. So for the next 90 days, rather than hitting the gym more or working on anything else, I will spend every free minute I have on business development. Every evening, I will try to have dinner with a potential client. I will DM people on LinkedIn. I will DM people on Instagram. Whatever it is you have to do business development, learn a new technical skill. This is the time where you can do that. So I've summarized all of these points and given you a bunch of examples, but before moving on into this matter of key questions, let me just briefly clarify one thing, that is, how long do you apply this for? And I would always advise you to work in sprints or immersions. Make a plan for the next 90 to 120 days with a fixed goal. That goal should be something that you can actually track. It should be something that is realistic, measurable. Make it a SMART goal. You can ask ChatGPT about setting SMART goals or Google it. Make it a SMART goal. Set a goal in 90 days. You want to lose 8 kilograms or 15 pounds, or you want to gain 5 pounds or 3 kilograms or whatever it is. Make it a realistic goal and then make this your main priority for the next 90 days. Now, what do I mean by number one priority? I don't mean that it's the only thing you do, but what I mean is that every morning when you wake up, your main goal has to be to get your daily activity towards that goal handled. And let's just use the example of the gym or working towards a kickboxing fight or a marathon, because it's the one that is the least close to working, right? So you wake up and you know, well, today I have to get a session, at least one session in. The easiest thing is do it right in the morning. That already means that a second session, sometimes later in the day, is already a bonus if you get it done before work. And this is how you have to think. You might not be a morning person, but if the most certain way to get the one thing done that gets you closer to your goal is doing it before work, then you absolutely should start waking up earlier for the next 90 days so you can get that session in. If you cannot guarantee that you can do it in the evening, that's just the most surefire way to get it done. That being said, once the 90 days are over, ask yourself how close you got to your goal. Did you maybe exceed it? And then what is the next goal? What's the next step? What are you going to work towards next? So that said, let's make this smaller again. Once you ask yourself what your main priority is, right? Could be health and fitness. Like I have a health and fitness goal every time, but it could also be a goal to focus for the next 90 days on dating and relationship, meaning every day you text some people on dating apps, or maybe you approach that girl that you see when you're on your lunch break and you try to arrange dates and then go on dates in the evening with maybe the goal to find a girlfriend, or maybe just the goal to get more flowing, like get more at ease with talking with other people, be more at ease, feel more at ease. So go out, date, find a relationship, spend more time with your family, spend time with your siblings, spend time with your children, depending on where you're at in life. Now, one thing that I wanted to share with you before wrapping up this video is the importance of having a coach. The reason why I always got coached in every area of my life is because I believe that a coach is like probably the closest thing to a magic pill. A coach has the knowledge that you need, and he can not just give you the knowledge, but also help you implement it tailor-made to your situation. So I always saw coaches as people that would help me shortcut the way to where I want to get. It will basically get me there faster, which will then in turn allow me to be in that final situation, final position that I want to be in for a longer period of time, basically be in greater shape for a longer period of time. Or if you get a dating coach, be able to reap the rewards of being good in communication for a longer period of time. So it's basically a small investment or a larger investment, depending on the coach, that will change your life. Now, am I saying everybody should get a coach? No, I think it's completely up to you. Most things, especially in today's day and age, you can do them by yourself. The knowledge is out there for free. You can ask ChatGPT about it. You can Google it. It's there. The only question is, how fast are you going to implement it? And are you going to implement it as fast as you would with a coach? Now, if you don't have money for a coach, or you would rather figure it out on your own, try buying a course or at least read a book. A book is literally the condensed knowledge of some person, all the knowledge that this person has on that topic condensed into 100 or 200 pages. And the last point, ideally combine the coaching or whatever else you decide to do with an immersion, meaning that for that period of time, you really go full throttle into that one thing. You spend every waking minute on the gym outside of working. You have to do the things you have to do, like work, sleep, eat. But every other minute, you spend it on the gym. Or you fully immerse in your career or your business and just do that for a certain period of time. But be careful not to immerse in your career for too long. If you've been immersed, and be honest with yourself, if you've been immersed in your career in making money for the last 10 years, then it's not an immersion anymore. It's not an immersion. It's you telling yourself that it's going to make you happy at some point, but you're not prioritizing the things that matter. And there you have it, the full system I used to get all of the things done I wanted to get done while working 60 hours, mostly more than 60 hours a week. And here's a shameless plug. If you want to talk to me personally, if you want to get coached by me personally, link to my Calendly in the bio. Let's set up a call, talk, see if we vibe, and I'll see if I can help you. And other than that, I'll see you in my next video.